Hello, everybody. We are Mark and Becky Foellmer, and we're very excited to bring to you Flippity and HPE today. Flippity is one of my favorite tools because it is it has so many different options. And once you learn how to use it, you can use what you've learned for every single option. And we're going to go through these one by one. As we start out, we're going to go into more detail. And then as we get towards the end, we won't need to because you will have learned how to use some of the basic elements of it. You'll notice on this first slide that we do have an instructional video on Flippity there. So that might give you some additional information if we've missed some things or if you want to see it from a different point of view. Also, right here, you'll see this file. So this is a link to this file, which you will need to be able to do all of the things that we're going to show you today. So you can either take a screenshot of this or just jot it down. It's just bit.ly/ and then Flippity in HPE, all lowercase. It is case sensitive, so make sure you type it lowercase. So that'll get you to this presentation and all of the materials that we have. And we do have a lot of material to share with you within this presentation. So we're going to get going. The one thing I'm going to tell you is this particular slide right here won't make any sense to you right now, but it is the piece or the part that you'll be using in every single one of the various Flippity options. I have this slide here just as a reminder, and every time that you're using one of the options, you can return to this to remind yourself of the things you need to do in order to make Flippity active. So again, you'll understand this more once we actually are showing it to you. Now, Flippity has a ton of different options. And what we've done on this slide and the next slide is we've set this so that you can see all the different options. And then we've chosen a few of them that we feel are particularly useful or helpful in HPE. So we're going to start going through these. Oh, and by the way, like, for example, we have the word search, the crossword puzzle, the word scramble. Of course, those three could be used in any subject area, including health and physical education, and certainly in health, they could be very useful. But I thought those were sort of the more normal types of usages. So I wanted to focus on the things that might be unusual or different to you.
So we're going to jump right in and share out Flippity Quiz. Think of this as a Jeopardy game format that you can take to your classroom and with your students. And let's go and click on the demonstration here. And you'll see at the top, there are different categories. And we've already set it up so that these are physical education related topics. And you would organize your class into teams in this example. And each team would then go ahead and let's take elementary PE for $100 or 100 points. And the amount of physical activity you should do each day is, they would give the answer, 60 minutes. Is it correct? Yes, they got the correct answer. So we would mark that off. And when we go to the next question, I want to point out team one already has a score of 100. So now we go on to another question. Perfect. You sing the ABC song when doing this. Skipping down the sidewalk for team two is the answer. And is that correct? No. So we're going to give the example of what happens when you get a wrong answer. And when we go back to our score, you'll see team two has negative 100 points. So that gives you an idea of how you can use this or an example of this game activity. So now let's actually go into it so that we can learn how we can adapt it to our class needs. So we're going to click here where Becky's pointing the arrow at so we can get our own copy of it. Make a copy.
It'll take just a second for it to generate your copy.
Now here is the example that we shared out. It has the topics at the top, it has the question, and then you fill out the correct answer. Just so you very quickly, so you can get an idea of how easy this is to make it your own for question one or category one elementary PE. We're going to change that one out to who is your physical education teacher? Who is your PE teacher? Keep it quick and short. And our answer is Mr. Foellmer. So now we want to save that, obviously. So we are going to go to File.
And this is the piece that is explained. All the steps are explained over on that earlier slide that I showed you. So you go to File.
And now we're going to scroll down to Publish to the Web. Click on that. Hit the green Publish button. Hit the blue OK button. And now we're going to close this window. And now we go down and we want to get the link here. So we click on that.
So this is the actual Flippity link. This is where your game will be created.
Go ahead, click on that. And now, just so you can see what it looks like, we're going to go to Elementary PE category 100. We're going to click on that. Who is your PE teacher? That was the question that we put in. And there's our correct answer. So it's that easy to make this your own. So think about this as a way to use as a pre-assessment with your kids or a review session on a particular unit that you just covered.
Exactly right. Very cool, right?
Absolutely.
All right, on we go.
This next one is, again, another helpful tool for you in the classroom. This is the name picker, random name picker. So obviously there's ways that you can use this to identify students if you're calling them out for answering questions. But I want to share out the tool that I think is most useful, and that's getting groups and teams organized very quickly. So you can see at the top bar that you can set it up so that you have options already preset so that you can see. If we hit the more button,
Go first, look.
Okay, so we're sharing out groups of 3. They're already made, and let's go ahead and you'll notice you can change that up a little bit so that if you have a group where you have a student that may not get along with a couple of other students in that group, you can quickly change that. Becky just clicked on that cross arrow for the quick change. And there are other options here, such as the rotation and the jigsaw puzzle. But now let's look at teams. We want to organize our teams. So we're going to go to organize. Let's go, 3 teams. I was going to say 3 teams, but that's fine. That's fine. And you can see how quick and easy this is. Now, we have to have the ability to add names if we get new students into our class, or maybe delete that. So let's go ahead and share out how we can do that. So again, we want to click on template. Perfect. Make a copy. Again, as Becky said, it takes a little bit of time, not a big deal. Now, as you can see, there's already our class list, but now we have 2 new students. So let's add Mark and let's add Becky. There's our additional students. Now we want to go to File, because we want to make sure we don't lose this. Publish.
And if this was already your file, you would not have to republish it when you make the change, but because this is a new file that we're creating, we do have to publish it for the first time. Once it's published, it's good to go.
Close that. Perfect. Now we're going to grab that link. And in the wheel, we'll just point out, you can see Mark and Becky right there. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and look at how this looks for groups of 3. Boom, already set, ready to go. Or how about teams of 4?
No,
or 4 teams, yeah, sorry. Nice, right? How cool is that?
And another really neat thing that you can do is, let's say you were going to use this in stations. Let's say kids come in and you have 6 stations set up. Well, you notice there isn't an option for 6, but if you go to more, voila, there is an option. So if you click 6 teams, it's going to give you 6 options. And what's really cool is you can use these as your stations. And if you use this button right here, you can rotate the teams. So when it's time to change stations, if you click to rotate, it's going to actually move that group over to a new station. So the kids can always look up here and know exactly what station they're supposed to be in. All you have to do is click to move them. I think that's a really, really cool option. All right, We're going to go ahead and move on. And by the way, there also is a video here. If you want to watch that video that goes into a little bit more detail or adds it in and talks about it in a little different way, you're welcome to do that. Let me get rid of some of these so we don't freeze up.
The next one we're going to share out is a randomizer. And let's go to the left sample there. Kind of similar to something that we shared earlier. You're going to notice at the very top, we have different categories of exercises: cardio, standing, kneeling, laying. What's really neat here is we can click on the big spin button and it randomly selects the activities that we're going to do. Now, you also have an option down below to be able to spin each spinner or wheel individually and still come up with the workout that you want the students to do. Again, you have the ability to change this out. So we're going to click to get our copy, make a copy. I want to stress that. This makes it your own and gives you the flexibility to make changes to it that will be helpful for your students and in your classroom. So Becky's just going to add in, I don't know, perfect. Yeah. So that now when we go back to the wheel, you'll see the new change. She's going through. Make sure you hit the publish. We close that window. And now we'll grab our link. And it was on the third wheel. And she's clicking, you'll notice, one at a time. You have that ability as well. And there's our new exercise that we just put in. Pretty neat, right? I mean, it
awesome,
gives you the ability to meet your needs, your student needs.
Really love it.
Becky's going to talk about this next one on the right here, where we see gifts, and this is perfect for the littles because now we don't have to worry about the reading end of things.
Yeah, the other option is to go ahead and use gifts in your wheel. Again, works exactly the same way as the other one, but the difference is that you have gifts. And again, you can do them independently, do the wheels independently if you want to. But what I want to show you on this one is the fact that with the spreadsheet, when you set it up, it is important that you understand that you must have a link to the GIF. You cannot put a GIF into the spreadsheet and have it show up. You actually have to have a link to the GIF. So one of the things that we gave you over here is a web page that works perfectly for this. So if you click on this web page, this is actually on our website, CBHPE, as well, in our more exercise GIFs file. And if we let this load, this is a terrific resource out of Queensland, Australia, and it gives you the opportunity to find all sorts of exercise GIFs, really nicely done, very professional, obviously. You can even search by various topics. But let's say that we wanted to put in this Superman kind of style GIF into our randomizer. What you need to do is you just simply right-click on the GIF, and then you copy the image address. So you need the address of that image. Now, just so you know, you cannot use Google Drive files in the Flippity randomizer, which is unfortunate because we have so many GIFs available. We can't use those. But you can use them from a website like this or from other websites. So if you copy the image address, and then you go over to your spreadsheet. I'm going to put it in the kneeling part. We know that that's not a kneeling exercise, but it'll help us to see it. So we're going to just paste that in there, and you can see that it's been pasted. And now, again, I do not have to go back and republish. Once I've published it, it's fine. I can make changes, and those changes will appear as soon as you make them when you click on the file. Oops. Let's try it again. Just wants to be a little bit crabby right now. Let's see if it's going to go. Oh, you know what? I didn't publish this one. We published the other one, didn't we?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
File.
So now you just saw what's going to happen. I forgot that we didn't publish this one yet.
Perfect.
So that was perfect. You see exactly what's going to happen. It's going to tell you that it has not been or that it can't access it. And there we go. Nice. So now you can see it. And it's ready to be used. If we click it, we can run it. And of course, if we want to see that one that we just put in is there. Sure enough, there it is. So you can make that change at any point in time. And again, once you publish it, you do not have to publish it again, but you do have to publish it to begin with. Otherwise it doesn't work.
That's all right.
All right.
That's a good teaching
It's a
moment.
good opportunity to show it. All right. So that's the randomizer. Lots of fun. I'm sure that all of you can think of tons of things that you can use in the randomizer that are not exercise related. That would be really cool too. Certainly you could use this in health as a fun way to come up with some topics for discussion and things like that. So you just have to use your imagination a little bit. So the next one we're going to talk about is the Flippity Scavenger Hunt. The Scavenger Hunt example is very similar to a breakout EDU or a escape room type concept. I'm just going to show you one. This one happens to be.
No, I was just blocking.
This one happens to be on the topic of alcohol and its effects. So the student, when they click the link to go into the scavenger hunt, will have to put in their name first, and you'll see why in just a couple of minutes. And then they have the locks that they're going to try to open. So in this case, I'll do lock number 1. You click on the lock, and I just set this one up. I used Caitlin Hall's alcohol and its effects hyperdoc to create this one. And the student has to read the information. So they actually click the link and they have some research to do. So they have some information that they are to read. And once they read that, they're then going to try to answer this question about 1 in blank college students reported academic difficulties from drinking, blah, blah, blah. So if they've carefully read this, they're going to know that the answer is 4. And they can enter that. So I'm just going to put in the number 4. I want to show you a couple of other things that you'll see here. You'll notice the little light bulb here. This is if the student wants a hint. You can choose whether you give them a hint or you don't give them a hint. For this one, the hint is just, it's going to ask you, do you want to see the hint in case they accidentally do it? So it says click OK to see the link below the locks, and I'm going to click OK. And my hint for this one is just read all of the information there. So they don't really get a big hint from this one. So they put in their answer and then they try the lock to see if it works. And let's try it. Aha, it opened. So pretty cool. They can then go back and try another lock and so on. Now for this one, in order to allow the students to be able to sort of let you know when they've accomplished their various locks and so on, we have some additional information. So let's go into the spreadsheet and we'll show you what that looks like. Again, sorry about it taking a little bit of time to load. So this is what the spreadsheet looks like for the locks. You can see that I had 4 locks, and you can see that there are 4 categories here. You can also see that I've chosen to put hints on 2 of them. The other 2 I chose not to put any hints on. And then over here are the answers. And some of you may have been thinking when I wrote the number 4 in, what about if the student puts the word F-O-U-R? You can actually show that over here, and you use the up and down line, which is above the backslash on the keyboard, in order to separate those in your answer if you want to accept more than one answer as being correct. Over on the options page for this one, there are a number of options. I'll let you guys read through those on your own. But the very important piece of this is the email address. You will need to put your email address there if you want to receive a notification that a student has completed this. I know that could be a lot of emails, so you may or may not want to do that, but that's how you do it. You simply have them, you simply put your email address in there, and then when you are finished opening, when the student is finished opening all the locks, an email will be sent to you indicating that they completed the tasks. And again, we know that we get the link over here. All right, so that's the scavenger hunt. And again, you can use as many links, as many locks as you want. I don't know if there's a limit. There probably is, but I don't know what it is. But you just keep on filling out these rows if you'd like to have more locks.
Moving forward, our next example is a manipulative example. Again, a nice, the example that's being shared out would be wonderful for a pre-assessment study guide, something along those lines. And what I think is, kids get this. They can just do a click and drag to bring their answer up to where they think is the correct muscle identification. We have the front and back, obviously. And just for your own information, how can I make this meet my students' needs? If we go back to gain access to a copy, and I want to show you how simple this is to update. On the left side, left column are all the muscles. And then I don't know how quickly you caught it, but the green and blue, one was front, one was back. Now, in this particular case, if we take out one of those muscles, and we're going to take out the pectoral, we've updated it. So now, when we go to File, Publish. Okay, clear that out. Now we're going to grab our link. And you're going to notice there is no longer pectoral. It's just not there. Now, the one thing that we'll highlight for you is you'll still see the arrow that's pointing to the pecs, and that could throw kids off. You're going to have to make an update on that as well. And so be aware of that.
And we did include the ability to get a copy of that file if you happen to want to use it. One thing you do need to know is you have to create your background, and I do give that information over here on how to create your background. Google Drawing is a way for you to create it and be able to publish that to the web and make that available. Because when you use this one, you'll notice over here there's backgrounds. That's where you have to put the link to your background, and that's what will show up behind all of your manipulatives. So you can imagine that you could come up with lots of options here that you could use in this kind of way.
The next one, just very quickly, because we do want to share as much as we can. These are just fun ways to share words with students. The words that we're sharing out now are all fitness or health and physical education related words. And if you look at the very top, you have all kinds of options to show that word. In this particular one, that's awesome. Sign language, block.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
Periodic table. So you have all sorts of choices. Again, if you go to making a copy for yourself, you can obviously add words, you can delete words. I think you're starting to get the feel or the gist to how this all works. So is there more that you want to share?
Yeah, just a couple. So like on this one, you can see how it's not fitting all in one row. So I don't know how many of you know the trick to sort of reduce the size of your screen, but if you hold down Control and hit the minus button a couple of times, you can reduce your screen size and that'll help it fit. So the way that you could use this is you could actually do a screenshot of this. So if I use my screenshot tool, I could click and drag across it. You might not be able to see that, but I'm just taking a screenshot of it. And if I then go over to a presentation, I can click on that and I can paste it. And now I can use that text in a presentation. So if you're just looking for some fun, different options for text, this is a great way to do it. All right, on we go. So the badge tracker is the next one we're going to take a look at. And this is by far the most complicated one and takes the most time to set up. But it is a really cool option, and you might be interested in looking into it. I set up a badge tracker that involved the ability to earn 3 badges. They could earn a badge on physical activity, on encouragement, and on skill-related fitness. And you can notice that I would have my entire class listed below. Now, this is a public thing, so you do need to be aware of that. All the students would be able to click and see what badges other students have earned. It would be similar to if you had this posted on a bulletin board. So you just need to be conscious of that. But what happens is a student comes in here and they say, I want to work on my physical activity badge. And so they click on physical activity and it tells them what they need to do. So this says, learn about the ways that physical activity impacts your health. After you click the link below and do the activity, be sure to return to the slides file and submit the form to earn your badge. So for this one, it happens to be an Ed Puzzle lesson that the students come over and they actually do this Ed Puzzle lesson. And then when they're done, the way that I have this one set up is that they actually would have access to this file in its own individual slides file. And what they would do is they would simply click this link in order to earn their badge. So they would go in, they would put in their name, they would say, let the teacher know that they worked on the physical activity badge. And then this has a little piece to it. Whoops, let me put a name in there. And then this has a little piece to it to sort of see if they really earned that badge. So for this one, describe how being physically active leads to a healthy body, and then think carefully about what you learned. And so they have to then provide you with that information. If they earn the badge, then what you would do is you would go back into the badge tracker and give them credit for it. So we're going to go back now and I'm going to show you what this looks like in the spreadsheet. Again, this one's a little bit more complicated. I'm not going to go into full detail, but I just want to show you the idea here. The teacher actually awards the badge by going into the spreadsheet.
This is really cool.
It is very, very cool.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites for sure. It's just takes a little while to set up, but it's really, really neat. So as you can see, again, it's a little more complicated than the other spreadsheets are. Here you give the information about the badge. If there's a link, which I used links to Jigsaw Planet, Ed Puzzle in here in order for them to earn their badges. I tried to make it a learning experience for them. And then all you do is you have your list of students down here. And when they earn a badge, you just exit. So I want to show you that Nora, for example, we'll go back to, let's go back to Nora, or Nova, sorry, not Nora, Nova. And you can see Nova hasn't earned any badges yet. So obviously this is my copy, but I'm going to show you, if I put an X here, she's going to earn that badge. And what's really cool is, if I give her another badge and I use a couple of asterisks, she's going to get a couple stars on her badge, which I think is really, really neat. So if somebody does something above and beyond, or maybe that answer is really, really good, and you want to give them a little bit of extra sort of recognition for what they've done, you get to do that. So if I go in now and I look at Nova, here's Nova. And you can see she earned the physical activity badge and she earned the encouragement badge and got 2 stars, cool? Which I just think it's awesome. Really cool. It's a really neat way to do it. And another option that you can have is you can view all. So by viewing all, you can go down and just very quickly see how everyone's doing. And you might be wondering about this one. If it's something where they have several steps that they have to do, you can actually give them progress towards earning their badge, which I think is also really cool. And the way that you show the progress is by using fractions or decimals. So I don't know, I'm a geek, so I really think this is cool and I really enjoy it.
It's a motivator, a great student motivator.
Definitely.
I think. Yeah, absolutely.
And you can use it in a lot of different ways. So that gives you a little bit about the badge tracker. If any of you ever wanted to set this up and were a little concerned or needed some extra help, I'm more than happy to help you set it up. All right.
Next one is a bingo style game that students can play. Again, you're starting to get to understand how this all works. This happens to be an example that Andy Milne shared that he uses it with his class on kindness, acts of kindness. And here you have the list of terms that can be included in that bingo card. You have the ability, obviously, you've got to print that out for the students. So you have the ability to How many boards do you need? Well, obviously depends on students. So I have 30 students, boom, Becky's clicked it in for me very nicely, thank you. You can include a free space, or you can have that be one of the spots that they still have to fill. And then obviously print that out. And now you get a sample of what that would look like. And there are all the cards, 30 cards. We asked for 30, there's our 30 cards.
And if you're wondering about these blank spaces here, Andy, when he shared this idea out, he offered the kids the option to come up with their own act of kindness. So they can choose to enter those into those spaces, which I just love. I think that's awesome.
Absolutely. Again, you can understand how that can be used as a tool to review before an upcoming quiz or a test. Oh, this is good. I know you like to explain this one.
Yeah, so the kids actually, this is great for synchronous learning. You could actually play a bingo game with your kids, because if you share this link with them, they will be able to each generate their own card. And then if you had certain questions and the answers were on their board, they could tell you whether they got bingo, and they could read off what their answers were. And basically when they choose that, they get their own card. And if they get an answer, they can do this digitally. So they get to mark it. Come on, you got to admit that's cool. So they actually get to mark it as it goes. And when the game's over, you can click new board and they could try it again. So really fun, really neat, and a great tool. And again, we're not going to go into this spreadsheet because it's basically the same. You just put in your items, and that's really all you do.
Next one is the matching or memory game. Two ways that you can actually play this, and I like it because it allows for modification with some of your students as well. This first one that Becky's sharing out is a memory game. So we would click and
T-I-N-F-I-T-T.
Did you hear that? It reads to you. Now you can turn that sound off, but think about how helpful that can be, that tool can be with some of your students. And now obviously you're trying to match that. Awesome, thank you. Cardio, we're looking for a cardio activity type of exercise. Didn't make it, darn it. But you understand the concept of this. And once you do match, go ahead, we've got a match, we click to the next one, and that disappears. Those cards are gone now, so we don't have to worry about that. So just like in a physical matching card game that you're playing. The other option here, and this is why I think it, oh, great. Yeah, you're fine. Again, you're making a copy. We're just going to share with you how you have the flexibility and opportunity to make changes. So if you don't want to play, or if you don't want to review the fit principles with the students, fine. You can cancel it out and you can put in your own new matching game. Again, it's the same concept here of what needs to happen. Now we're going to look for the matching. That was memory. Now we're matching.
And the only difference between memory and matching is with the matching.
Yeah, we're going to get to see all the cards face up. And now the students are going to match that up. Now I think that's important. We have to remember that we have to meet all our students' needs. And so some students may need this. It might be just the way to get them over the hump on understanding this particular
balance activity.
And I just love that. That's just so cool. Again, you have the ability to change all of this and meet your students' needs or your class needs, whatever you might be teaching.
Exactly right. All right. And last but not least, the tournament
This is a nice tool for tournament play. The one thing that I will say, the heads up is, as Becky clicks through, you can see how quickly you can identify the winner of one matchup, and it automatically moves them out into the bracket. I love that concept and that idea and the ability to do that, but this does not save it. So if you had a multiple day tournament going on, you would have to do a screenshot or print it to be able to keep track of it. Now, obviously, if you forgot to do that, life's not over.
Kids will remember,
and you can just go back the next day and click it quickly through to get there. But if you did make a copy or a print, then you could still do it digitally. You would actually have verification of who won in this particular matchup, and just very quickly click it out. You saw how quick Becky was able to get that updated.
Yeah. So, guys, there's a lot on Flippity. It's just a really fun little tool. And the nice thing is it only takes a little bit of time to learn the basics. Hopefully you have them after watching this and you're off and running. I do want to tell you that we do have an entire folder with all of the files that I have in this particular presentation all together. For example, you'll see the folder, the badges folder there. If you click here, you're going to get the whole folder, but the badges folder actually has a template to create badges. So if you'd like to create your own badges, even if you're not planning to use Flippity, but you'd like to create your own badges, I do have a template in there. And then I have the badges that I've already created available for you. All of these you can make your own copy of. Just don't forget, like we always say, make sure you go to File and make a copy so that you get your own editable file. And don't forget that you do have to make sure that you go through the steps of File, Publish, and then it'll be available.
Super easy. I just watched the tutorial video and then just dove right in and started practicing with these things. And if I can figure it out, that going that route, everybody can. It is super fun, and it did not take a long time investment of my time to learn how to do all these.
Right. So just a reminder, bit.ly / Flippity in HPE, all lowercase. If you want to get to this whole file, I think we'll probably also have it up on the website, but the link to it on the website as well. But we hope that this was useful and valuable to you. We are more than happy to answer any questions anytime. If you go to our website, cbhpe.org, all of our contact information is there also. So, you can contact us anytime, and we're more than happy to help. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed it. Bye, guys.
Bye now.